This the true stream. Ah, is anyone online? What the up? Is anyone here? Oh hi guys, is anyone here? I think I mixed up stuff. Hello guys. No. I don't know. I think I mixed up stuff. Is anyone here? Interesting. Fuck. Hi guys. Is anyone here? Hello. Finally someone. Can you send a message? Um, for me, yeah. Thank you. You're the first one. People have been slow today to come up. Thank you for coming. So I think we're behind, and we should begin our live stream. Maybe others will join us as the time goes. Oh, another one. Thank you. So let me set up my phone so that we can begin the live stream. Yep. Okay, so welcome to the live stream today, and first I'll recap all the news we're going to discuss. So for politics, we'll discuss updates in Gaza and Trump's tariffs. For economic news, we're going to discuss AI sales growth and Russian funding. Thank you for the likes. That really makes me smile. For technology news, we're going to discuss Google Maps tragedy and Apple reduces reliance on China. For environmental news, we're going to discuss wildfires in Europe and deforestation. And for sports and entertainment, we're going to discuss Taylor Swift's engagement and Chan. So because we're back, because we started a bit late, so let us get right into it. So our first news is gonna be about politics, and it's gonna be about Gaza. So on August 28th, Israel intensified its bombardment of Gaza City. August 28th is yesterday, and this killed at least 16 Palestinians and injured many families who fled to coastal areas. So, and if you take the 24-hour death toll, it's 71. That's 71 people with lives, with family, with friends, and those friends, family, etc. won't take it easy and will want backlash. So it's something that it's really producing backlash for the Israelis, because if you kill people, their friends and family will want to do some revenge on you. And that's not all. The UN Security Council, except the US, declared Gaza's famine a man-made crisis, and it demanded an immediate ceasefire, hostage release, and expanded aid access. So let me first finish before I even get into this. And also on August 27th, which was the day before, the UK Prime Minister Tony Blair attended a White House meeting with Trump and Jared Kushner to discuss post-war governance plan for Gaza. So, hello guys. I, D Finance, right off that said hi. Yo, hi. So, let us first discuss the irony of the US. The US is the only country and Israel who voted against putting this as a man-made crisis, and then it is the one that is discussing how to end the war. So you can already see the irony going on. It's it just shows that we don't have the power. We really, sorry a bit. Okay. So it just goes to show that we don't have the power. And another thing it goes to show is how these countries' actions don't represent the people. I don't think if the US citizens vote, they'll vote to not make it a man-made crisis, not to put it as a man-made crisis. But because their representative voted that way, then it's taken as the whole country. Which brings me to my point, which I also think not all Israelis are for the war in Palestine. So I think it's the government and it's our structure. It just allows few people to have control of executive power and do whatever they like, and the rest of us can't do anything about it. And that's how we end up with stuff like the Israel Palestine war, the Russian war, etc., etc., when you have power concentrated on the hands of a few people. So I think that's something also to take, and that's why I think building a collective system of governorship is really, really important. Yeah, so that's the first point. That's the first news about Gaza. Uh, Israel is still attacking Gaza, and the US is still not accepting that it's a man-made, the famine is a man-made crisis, and they're also planning on how to end the war without involving the Palestinians. Okay, so before we go to the second news, let me first read a bit of the comments. So it's Nietz Gani. Oh, Harry here. Oh, hi, Harry. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate that. So, the second news is Trump and tariffs. So on August 25, President Trump issued a stark ultimatum that China must supply rare earth magnets essential for high-tech manufacturing or face a 200% tariff. I think he can even say 1,000% tariff by now, because it really doesn't even make sense. So these tariffs that he's putting, they're for the corporations and not for the collective. It's for helping the US corporations, his buddies, have better chances of fighting against China. And if the goals of the corporation coincide with the goals of the collective, then it seems as good. But if they don't coincide, he'll still help the corporations continue doing better. And these tariffs and taxes, they really hurt the economy. So, for example, here in our country, it's a combination of two countries that came together. It's Tanganyika and Zanzibar. So Tanganyika is the mainland and Zanzibar is an island. And because it's a combination, we're not fully united. So there are so many laws and systems that are different. And one of them is that the taxes that are charged for products here in the mainland are not the same as the taxes that are charged for the island Zanzibar. So what happens is that for Zanzibar the taxes are much, much lower. So if a TV that is sold for $300 here is sold for $150 there, a car that is sold for $4,000 here is sold for $2,000 there. And the reason given is that they have smaller population, which to me is not a point they can make, but it is what it is. So my point is, these tariffs and unnecessary cost tariffs and taxes like that hurt the people, since it massively increases the cost of living, and it makes it harder for the normal person or the common person to survive. So I think this tariff wars, they're not helping the people, they're just helping the corporations. And if it's helping the people in any way, then it's not it's not planned. It's just it just happened. But the main goal is to help the corporations, and that's why I think collective ownership is important, since with collective ownership you have collective power to go against the tariffs and all that. But when we're individuals, it's really hard. So that was the second political news, and let me read the messages again. So Harry said hi again. So hi. I can scroll down a bit. Okay, so after the politics, let us go to the economic news. And the first economic news is about AI sales, chip sales growth. So on August 27th, 2025, Nvidia reported that its AI chip sales revenue increased by 56%, and TSMC also reported an increase of revenue up to 44%, and they're projecting a 30% full year growth. So AI chip sales are growing at a huge rate, and that just goes to show that AI automation, or and I mean automation and AI are here to stay, and they're going to be more and more involved in our lives. So we as simps of human progress should look at how to adopt it and how it can help our cause, and not fight against it, because technology is not capitalism and capitalism is not technology, but capitalism uses technology to advance their agendas, and so we as the collective should also use technology to advance our agendas. And by saying that, I'm not the type to think that automation and AI will magically bring us to the post-scarcity society. I don't think that will happen, or AI and automation will lead to people not having jobs. I don't believe that. I think that we already are in that situation whereby there's not enough jobs to go around. Most people work in bullshit jobs, and many companies produce bullshit products. So we're already in a situation where there's not enough jobs to go around, and the jobs that are there are useless. And that's why even in COVID, when COVID hit in 2020, most people didn't work and life still went on. And so we're already in that situation whereby automation has allowed us to not have enough jobs to go around. But because the system is capitalism, it will continue producing bullshit jobs. So it's on us to actually build a new system that will actually help us have better lives, instead of being forced to do bullshit jobs. Yeah. And I think with AI and automation, it's our opportunity as the collective to finally own something that will bring infrastructure or technology that has real power. And I think we can only do that if we decide to do that collectively, collective ownership. And that's why I'm trying to build them Sally up, so that we can practice how to own stuff collectively online and actually run it. Because once we prove that the concept works, the sky's the limit. Then we can either build our own AI automation systems, and then use them because we're the collective, or we can buy out stocks of companies and change them into collectively owned companies. So that's the first news. Wow. Hi Jess, thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Yes, we can use the same tools for the force of good. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. It's nice seeing you here. Uh, so let us go to the second news, which is about Russia being bankrolled by Western companies. So, a report from Kiev School of Economics and Before Ukraine revealed on August 26, which was 3 days back, that over half of all foreign firms still operating in Russia in early 2022 collectively paid 20 billion in taxes in 2024 alone, which totaled more than 60 billion since the war began. Among them, AstraZeneca paid 43 million in 2024. Weatherford International, an oil field service firm, also paid a lot of taxes, 2.4 billion, etc. So the main point is that there are still lots of Western companies in Russia and they're paying taxes. So in a sense, they are funding the Russian-Ukrainian war. And why are they doing this? The simple answer, or the first reason is profits. They don't care. All they care about is making money. That's the first answer. Now, the second answer is power. They can do that because the sanctions put by the US did not touch it just touched companies that can help Russia in terms of military equipment and military stuff about the war, like drones, military companies, etc. So the other companies weren't touched by sanctions, which I think is shows that the US knew that it couldn't take all those companies out, so it made that for the corporations. As I say, it's a battle between the corporations and the powerful people, and most times they decide to work together instead of fight against us, the common person. So that's the second point. And the third reason I think they're doing that is because of I call this apathy. It's like us individuals. We know that Coca-Cola does a lot of bad, but most people still drink soda, right? By drinking soda, we're helping the companies. We know that chocolate companies use minor children in Ghana, etc., to farm cocoa, but we still eat chocolate. Why? Because we know that even if we stop, there's really no impact. It's so small, and it doesn't mean like if I stop today, all the people stop. It doesn't work that way. So most of us continue. And I think even for the companies like those in Russia, they know that even if they stop, even if they don't stop, there's no repercussions. And even if they stop, they won't be applauded, they won't be recognized. There's really no impact, so they just continue. It's the same, and that thinking is why I always say we should focus on the solutions, because it's the system that's the problem, not the people. It's the system that's the problem, and that's why I think it's very important for us to build this collective system, such as them Selly Up, whereby us as a collective can come together and actually do something that has impact. So even if we want to, like the soda example, if I just stop soda, it doesn't make sense. But if a lot of people do it, then we can have an impact. And that's why we need that collective action to be seen rather than one person. And so even these companies that are helping to fund Ukraine right now, yeah, we heard it, we know it, we don't like it, but what can we do? We can't. But if we had this collective system, if we posted and that this company is still funding Russia, is still in Russia, and it's funding the Russian Ukraine war from the Russian side, let's boycott it. And the page is remembered by, let's say, 800 million people every day. Maybe it's a page about anti-capitalism, and then 600 million agree to boycott. Tomorrow, tomorrow, people will see the impact. Tomorrow. So it's possible, but we don't have the infrastructure. And that's why people just hear stuff like this, and we continue living our lives, because there's really nothing we can actually do. And so that's the second news for economics. Let me read a bit of the messages. Nice to see you too. Okay, thanks, Jess. Well, I'm back again. Oh, no. Soda rots our teeth. Yeah, has many stuff. I don't drink it actually at all. So let's continue with the technology news. And the first one is the Google Maps tragedy. So there was a tragedy that happened on August 28th, 2025. A car carrying 9 passengers in Rajasthan's Chittorgarh district, I'm sorry for butchering the name, followed Google Maps onto a bridge closed for 3 years. So the bridge was closed for 3 years, and Google Maps didn't know, and the people followed it, and it was swept into the Banas River. So 3 relatives, including a mother, daughter, pair, and another woman, were killed. Rest in peace for their souls. A 6-year-old girl remains missing as rescue efforts continue. This devastating incident highlights the dangers of over-reliance. Okay, so that's the news. People followed Google Maps onto a bridge that wasn't used for 3 years, and a tragedy happened. And the first thing I like to say is, guys, be careful. It's not just Google Maps, it's all these technologies that we're using. We should always be cautious and be careful, and never just let ourselves be. So like with AI, you shouldn't just give it your personal information, etc., etc. Yeah, we should always be careful and always use them with a cautious mindset, because stuff like this can happen. And I also think that these apps and these apps and softwares should be labeled like the cigarettes or alcohol. It's not good for people under 18. So it should say not all information provided here is correct, or this hasn't been upgraded for the past 3 years. It should say that, so that even if you open it, you know that this map is a map of 3 years ago. It should say that. It's something that should happen to actually ensure nothing bad happens. And again, I think the softwares and these apps should be collectively owned, because even right now, the ideas I'm proposing, if it was collectively owned, the solution would have been obtained, and even the maps would have been updated by people living in India. But because it's owned by Google, it's harder to actually involve yourself as a collective, since you don't own anything there. So it's really really hard for something that is personally owned to be collectively used efficiently. It's really hard. And so that was the first technology news. And I'd like to hear thoughts on that Google Maps tragedy. Like, should the people be blamed fully, the driver, or should also Google Maps take part of the blame? Let me read some comments a bit. Yeah, so there was ChatGPT does say that, yeah, with AI at least it's much better. Whenever it gives shitty answers, it says on the bottom, or if it gives personal answers, it says on the bottom. But with these other apps, it doesn't actually say it. And even with AI, like here in Tanzania, Africa, there are people who believe AI videos are real because they don't know. And so that I've seen people protesting, and there are actually some movements going on that all AI content online should be put that this is AI content, because not all people know, and it's getting harder by the day to know. So even we who see ourselves as experienced in knowing which content is AI soon might not actually know what is AI and what is not AI. Nyie watoto, nyie watoto, tokeni hapo, mmesikia? Hey, I'm sorry. So there are kids playing out, and I was just telling them to move a bit since they might be interfering. Can you hear me nicely? Okay. So that was the first news, and the second news of the technology is in the technology category is Apple reduces reliance on China. So on August 20th, 2025, Apple confirmed that all iPhone 17 models, including Pro versions, were being assembled in India from the outset, which is a first for the company. So production is distributed across 5 Indian factories, including new facilities by Tata Group and Foxconn, with Foxconn's 2.8 billion Devanahali plant near Bengaluru being a central hub. So Trump also imposed 50% tariff on Indian imports. Apple has stated that iPhone prices will not increase immediately because there are also exemptions. So as I said, that the tariffs only hurt the common person's good, and for the corporations, they don't really feel them. And so why did Apple do this? The first thing is profits. China is becoming more expensive as people are getting richer, so the cheap labor is not as cheap as it used to be. The second reason is politics. As Trump is fighting with China, it makes sense for them to move, not put all their baskets, not put not put all their eggs in one basket, and move some of their eggs away. So the first reason I said is profit. The second one is politics, and the third I think is planned obsolescence, which I see it as we don't need new iPhones every year. Not to put I as I said, I always respect effort put to on human progress. So I respect all the engineers at Apple working to create these new phones and bringing this new technology, new AI systems, etc. to the world. I 100% respect that. But we don't need iPhones every year. We don't need iPhones every year because the difference between the last year's one and this year's one is so small, but the amount of trash being produced is humongous. I didn't check the number of iPhones produced a year, but I think it's a big number, and I don't think that we need 10 million new iPhones every year. All of that is new material being produced, mining, etc., etc. And honestly, I think the phone market is now like the iron market or the fridge market or the TV market, whereby it doesn't really make a difference what company you choose, and or a fan market or a ladder market. All we care about is that the thing works. And that's my first point on utility. Now my second point, which Apple uses a lot, is the cool factor. So in order to look cool, especially for teenagers, you have to have the latest thing. Jamani nyie watoto, kachezeni huko. I'm sorry about that. I just hope you don't the kids are not disturbing you as much as I think. I can hear you clearly over the kids. Okay, I'll stop bugging them and let them play. Uh, I reuse my old phones. They make great security cams. Yeah, that's really good. So the second point I was saying is that they're using the cool factor. So every year you have to buy a new iPhone to look coolest. Now this works especially for teenagers and people with insecurities. And I have one innovation that I think will really help with this pressure. I don't know if most of you have read about it, but it's called the Community Hub, and it's about a place whereby you're provided with infrastructure such as uh, venues, clothes, etc., to express your emotions. So if you want to look cool, you can just go to the area and buy a cool role play, and then there will be actors and venues whereby you'll end this and will follow the script of the story, and where you'll act as a cool person. So instead of having to spend $1,000 to buy a new iPhone, you can spend $50 and role play as a cool person. And some might say that role playing is will not be the same as buying the new iPhone, but that's still role playing. Since if you're walking with the new iPhone and people are looking at you and thinking you're cool, and then you remember that you're broke, then you remember that you have no money, you'll see yourself as a fake person. But you don't, because you limit your thinking right then so that you can enjoy the moment. So I think you should check it up. I posted it on my Substack for those who don't know. You can check it up. It's called. You can check it out. So before we go to the environment, let me read the messages again. So it's the same. I reuse my old phones. Sorry about the noise picking. I have a fan here and it's really messing me up. But the heat, and it's winter, but it's still hot. That's how it is here. It's midday. It's like 3 p.m. So it's still the sun's still out. And let us go to the environment sector. And the first news on the environment is climate change intensifies in Mediterranean wildfires. So a study by World Weather Attribution found that climate change made wildfires in Turkey, Greece, and Cyprus 22% more intense. The fires have killed 20 people. 20 people with lives, 20 people with friends, family, etc. Always remember that. And it also forced 80,000 evacuations and scorched over 1 million hectares. 80,000 evacuations, that's displacement, and over 1 million hectares. And researchers link the severity to record temperatures, prolonged drought, and strong winds. Guys, climate refugees is already a thing, and it's going to get worse and worse by the day. So we should continue to build the human identity so that we ensure that the future generation adopts a better world whereby even if they become climate refugees, they're accepted anywhere they go. So our chatting, our interacting, the fact that I'm in Tanzania interacting with people from all over the world is building that strong human identity, and that will really help the future generation. And so what we're doing by going online, talking to each other, liking, commenting, it's not nothing. It's building a strong human identity that will really help the future world when they are facing calamities we couldn't stop, like climate disasters. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, the strongest ties are made with invisible threads. So we're connected, although the things connecting us are invisible. So that's the first news. And I also think with rebuilding, it will be a huge opportunity to try new infrastructure such as mom apartments and the internet of transportation. But that's more higher up. So let us go to the second news on the environment category, which is there's a study on deforestation that came out. So on August 27, 2025, in Nature Climate Change, it revealed that deforestation in tropical regions has led to over 500,000 heat related deaths over the past 2 decades. So that's like 2 decades, 500,000 divided by 20. I think that's like 25,000. Yeah, 20. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 25,000 people dead per year because of deforestation. I mean, if there are some things that really just leave you out of breath. 20,000 people dead because of deforestation. That's more than one, man. That's more than one. So, all these climate denialists, etc. All I can say is you will never believe this until it happens to you. But that's the reality. That climate disasters are killing more people than wars ever will. And we're just ignoring it because it's not happening to us and it's not as recorded as the other stuff. But it's really something we should really care and take attention to. 20,000 people every year for the last 20 years because of deforestation, something that we could stop. And although most people like books, etc., I'm not a big fan of paper books and all that because I'm a fan of sustainable paper because I think if we can stop using trees for paper, it will be good. I know about hemp. Yeah, hemp, which I think is good. But I think deforestation is something that is not good. So all industries that depend on trees should look at alternative sources of material, except in those areas where there's a lot of trees and the deforestation is well guarded, such as some countries, I think Norway and some other countries. I think even in the US there are a lot of trees, but yeah, deforestation overall is not something that is really good, and it's causing so many deaths here. And I can even see it when I'm traveling up country. There's so many places where people are just cutting trees for nothing, for charcoal, etc. And it's all because of this capitalist mentality going into people, and people just don't care about the environment. All they want is to get a few bucks and enjoy themselves. So I think even the idea of degrowth is extremely important in terms of putting it into the collective mind, and I think us sharing this content, writing about it, etc., is really helping. And that's the second news. And before I go to the sports and entertainment part, let me read the comments again. So Father Forster said, I've been to a Canadian glacier. It was obvious. Yeah, for those with the eyes to see, they'll see that it's obvious what is happening with our climate. For those who deny, they won't until the day it happens to them or someone they care about. Yeah, so that is it for the environment. Now let's just go to sports and entertainment, which is the last category. So the first news is that Taylor Swift's engagement. Now I always put this news so that we can get it into our head how it's important that we build our own platform. So on August 26, 2025, pop star Taylor Swift and NFL star Travis Kelce announced their engagement via Instagram, sharing a heartfelt message. So this was a big news all over the world, and the reason it was the biggest news is not because of its there's something inherent in it. No, it's because celebrity culture has a good platform and network to ensure it spreads. That is a fact. Would it be good if not for Instagram and all the other social media? No. Before the social media, it was harder for stuff like that to just go around. So its celebrity culture is high because there's infrastructure that allows it to reach many people. And so instead of just complaining that the stuff about the environment should be taken more serious and reaches more people, or stuff about anti-capitalism, stuff about innovations, etc. No, we should build our own platforms and infrastructure that will allow social causes to reach more people and have more influence. What infrastructure? Sell it up so that the social causes reach more people and they also get more power. If we don't, celebrity culture will continue ruling and it will continue being the main focus of the people since it has better infrastructure. That's it. It just has better infrastructure to spread, and so it spreads. And because we the social causes don't have better infrastructure, they don't. So if we want to defeat this celebrity culture, if we want to ensure that the social causes are taken more seriously by the world, what we should be doing is helping to build the infrastructure of for social causes and helping to build them sell up, which I think is a very, 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 very good start. So that was the first news on sports and entertainment. Yeah, yeah, it's good for her. She's help. So I mean, there are those with power that would resist your ideas. Just saying. Yeah, and that's why whenever I'm talking about them, I'll say we, because I know that I can never do this alone. It needs to be collective power and not just one person, or else you'll be corrupted and the meanings will be changed, etc. So it will have to be collective effort. And how will it be a collective effort? It's once the app is built, we all are participating in it and ensure that it works. So yeah. And the second news for sports, I'm going to talk about Chan, which I've been talking about for the last few weeks. So it's a competition going on in East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. Unfortunately, we went out in the quarterfinals, and the final is between Madagascar and Morocco, and the third winner is between Sudan uh, and Senegal. And those will play in Uganda, and the final will play in Kenya, and the third winner will play in Uganda. So we have no matches anymore. Just wanted to give you the heads up since I've been talking about it for all the weeks, and just to show you what's going on in our country and what's going on in our area. It was a good competition, and it showed that we as a country can host uh, international competitions. And next year, like 2027, we're going to host the African Cup of Nations, which is kind of big here, and country teams from all over Africa will be coming here. Yeah, so that's just an update of what's happening here, and I think that's the end of our live stream, and I really hope you enjoyed it. So let me read the comments a bit. I think I wrote for Morocco. No reason. Yeah, so Morocco is the team that actually took us out. So at least we were taken out by a team that reached the final. Even if we also won against Madagascar. We beat Madagascar in the group stage, and because of that, we didn't expect it to go anywhere since we saw ourselves as much more good than them. But there it is, they're in the finals. And Morocco is the better team, honestly, but Madagascar has had luck on its side, so I don't know. I'll give you an update next week on Friday. So that is it for today's live stream. I hope all who were here enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Take care. I love you all. I love all of you. Bye.